Hey guys, it's Liz Mew. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make 5 types of Korean rice cakes, or dok in Korean. We're going to start off with something really simple and then we're going to end on something so extra, and I highly recommend the last recipe. So let's start with tteokbokki, the most popular version of Korean rice cakes. This is a recipe written by Earthling Sasha and her mum Sue that they made for me in the first ever episode of Culture Bite. We're going to start by making a paste of 2 tablespoons of gochujang, 1 tablespoon of gochugaru, 1 tablespoon of sugar, some salt and pepper, 1 tablespoon of crushed garlic, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and then we're just going to mix that to form a paste. So cooking this is really easy. We want to put 1.5 cups of vegetable stock and the spicy paste that we just made into a large saucepan and just give it a good mix until it's all dissolved. So next we're going to add some cabbage, and I'm using 2 to 3 leaves of that Asian cabbage, you know, I think it's called wonbok cabbage, 120 grams to be exact. And that tastes really good once it's cooked down compared to normal boring cabbage, I guess. And then we're going to add all the rice cakes, and I'm using fresh rice cakes, but if you're using a refrigerated or frozen packet, make sure to run them under some water before, because you want to separate all the rice cakes because we don't want them sticking together, because that would be bad. And the sauce will actually thicken once you stir it around a little bit because the water will take on some of the rice particles. Now we're going to add the spring onions and just give that a good mix in as well, nice and green. And that is done. Once the onions are stirred through and the sauce thickens up a bit, you can take it off the heat and they are ready to serve. Doesn't that just look incredible? Spicy, sweet, chewy rice cakes. So good. Now it's time for my favorite way to eat Korean rice cakes, tteokgochi, which is rice cake skewers, and they're not as spicy as they look, and they have so much flavor, and they just have the best texture. So we're going to start with some rice cakes, of course, and I'm using really fresh rice cakes again, that's why they're so soft, but if you're using packet rice cakes, make sure you cook them beforehand, and then we just want to thread 4 to 5 rice cakes onto a skewer and then repeat until you're out of rice cakes, basically. It's pretty easy. I think with the packet rice cakes, it might be a little bit more difficult, so try and find the fresh ones and then just put them all on a plate. To cook them, just put a little bit of oil into a saucepan, I don't know exactly how much, maybe a tablespoon, and then just whack 2 to 3 skewers onto the pan, and then wait for them to turn kind of slightly golden brown. You don't want to brown them too much, but you also want them to have a nice texture. There we go. Rice cakes done. Magic. Then we're going to put 3 tablespoons of ketchup into a small saucepan with some gochujang, and then some soy sauce, some sesame oil, and some mirin, which is a Korean rice cooking wine. Some garlic as well, and then we're also going to add a little bit of apple syrup, or you could use corn syrup, rice syrup, whatever sweetener you want. And try not to spill it like I am going to do now. Yeah, try not to do that. Yeah, you just want to cook this for a couple of minutes and then it's done. Super easy, guys. Then all you need to do is brush the sauce onto the skewers. Super easy, guys. I can't tell you how easy this is. For the easy to deliciousness ratio, this is crazy. Get it done. You're going to decorate with some sesame or peanuts or nori flakes. The nori flakes are my favorite. They are so good. Just do nori flakes. And now onto gangjang tteokbokki, which is the original way they ate tteokbokki before the red spicy one was popularized in the 50s. Now we're starting off with some vegan mince, which looks a little bit freaky, but I'm totally into it. If you don't want to use mince, you can use some hard tofu instead. We're going to create a marinade with some minced garlic, a little bit of soy sauce, some sesame oil, some ground white pepper, and some apple syrup or whatever sweetener you like. Just mix that together, and let it sit for about 30 minutes somewhere cool. Now we're going to marinate our rice cakes as well, because as you can see they're very sticky. So just put a teaspoon each of soy sauce and sesame oil and mix that all up. I started with a spatula, but you know, using your hands is a lot more effective, and we really want all the rice cakes not to be stuck together because we are going to be stir frying these. And let's start cooking. You need 2 teaspoons of cooking oil in a wok fry pan thing. We're just going to fry off a little bit of garlic before we add our marinated mince. We're going to cook that for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're going to add our vegetables, which you should make sure to have these prepped beforehand, otherwise your life's going to be really hard. Some onion, some carrot, 3 different colors of capsicum just to make everything super colorful, some mushrooms. How good are mushrooms, guys? Seriously, they add so much flavor, they're meaty, so good. Just give it a nice stir, and then we're going to add our rice cakes. Make sure they're nice and separated. We're also going to add a little bit of water just so nothing sticks to the bottom. And then some soy sauce for extra flavor, apple syrup to sweeten things up a little bit, and some pepper for some spice. Now we're going to cook everything really well to let all the flavors just soak into each other and create this delicious gangjang tteokbokki. I had never had this dish before, and it is so delicious. Final flavor with some sesame oil, garnished with some toasted sesame seeds and spring onions, and look at that. How good. Oh my goodness. Now we're going to make a rice cake soup called dokguk according to Jo's recipe. She's the Korean vegan on Instagram. We're going to start with half a teaspoon of olive oil in a soup pot, half a teaspoon of sesame oil, and then we're going to add a little bit of red onion and some mushrooms. We're going to cook that off a bit till everything gets nice and brown. We're going to add a little bit of minced garlic, and then some salt and pepper just to release some moisture and some flavor. Add a potato, add some broccoli, add some doenjang, add 3 cups of vegetable stock, seeing as this is a soup, and give it a little stir. Now for some fancy flavor. I'm using dried tashima kelp and dried shiitake mushrooms, and we're just going to let that infuse into the soup. We're going to use a different type of rice cake this time. These are sliced rice cakes made especially for soup. So if you're Korean, you eat dokguk on New Year's Day and Korean Lunar New Year because it's believed that eating it will bring you good luck for the whole year. So bring your soup up to the boil and stir occasionally, let it thicken. To finish off, I'm adding a cup of broccoli. Jo loves adding broccoli to like all her recipes, so this is just a big salute to you, Jo. Hope that's okay. I added some extra broccoli. And that's done, guys. This is your dokguk, and you can add kimchi. I think that's the traditional way that they eat it, with lots of kimchi, and it is so yummy. I'm not complaining. I added heaps of kimchi to my bowl, and damn, was it delicious. Are you ready for my totally delicious, totally extra, cheesy tteokbokki? We're going to start with 2 tablespoons of gochujang. We're going to make a paste again. Add 1 tablespoon of gochugaru. A little bit of sugar. I don't like it too sweet. We're going to add some soy sauce. We're going to add a teaspoon of garlic. And then we're going to mix that all up and make the flavors happen. To make our super flavorful base, I'm going to fry off some grated onion and a lot of garlic. Check this out! I found these vegan fish balls and they're stuffed with mushrooms. I didn't know they were going to be stuffed when I bought them, but bonus! Cool! Because a lot of Korean tteokbokki actually already has fish cakes in it, and I just wanted to recreate that same flavor. Also added some extra mushrooms, and that's just so flavorsome even before we add the veggie stock. Even more flavor now. We're going to add some tashima and shiitake mushroom and let that soak and boil up. This one is all about the flavor and the vegetables. Adding our paste now, letting it get red. How good is that color change, guys? Add the cabbage, some carrot. We're going to just pat everything under the water and let everything cook up. We're going to add our rice cakes. I'm only using 500 grams this time because we are adding a secret ingredient. Let it boil up and thicken up a bit, give it a little stir, and then we're gonna make a little well in the middle, if you can, for some room, because something important is coming right now. Ramen! Yay! Did you know it was gonna be ramen, guys, or ramyeon in Korean? We're just gonna cook that in the middle, and I added actually 1 cup of water, which I forgot to film because the camera timed out. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, take the noodles out once it's done, and we're gonna add, yeah, you thought the flavor was over? It ain't. We added more stuff. Vegan mozzarella, let that melt. We're gonna add some spring onions, some broccoli, some enoki mushrooms. What else? Kidding, that's it, guys, that's it. We're gonna give that a good stir. How amazing. All the combos, all the vegetables, all the flavor. This is my totally extra raboki, totally ready to go. Now we're gonna plate it up. I'm just gonna create a well in the middle again and empty my delicious noodles into there. I found these Korean roasted rice crackers in the supermarket, so I'm just going to sprinkle some of that on top for some crunchy and kind of burny, charcoaly taste. I'm all about the variation in textures and tastes. We're gonna add some roasted seasoned seaweed, some kim on top. You can use shredded nori, some spring onion, toasted sesame seeds, and voila! Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and all the links plus more information about all the ingredients, you can find that below in the description box, so just have a look. But I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.